Welcome to That's Good Broncos podcast live. That's right, we're live on YouTube. So if you're listening to this podcast after we go live, it's going to be a little bit different today, doing some Q&A here on YouTube. I am flying solo because Will Key's internet shit the bed. And I could not wait on FedEx to bring him a new router. So my apologies that you just have to listen to me and see my face. Will really anchors this podcast, really cements the big dick into the ground so we don't go too far astray. So we will talk about Drew Lock, what happened to his windshield, how he literally almost died. That's not just a clickbait title. Literally could have died due to a lug nut. And then we'll take some Q&A. We'll ask why Pro Football Focus is talking trash about the Broncos for no reason. Today's episode, though, brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Use code DNVR when you sign up at DraftKings to take advantage of all of their offers. And DNVR, the DNVR bar this week, is hosting the McGregor Poirier. Yeah, the McGregor Poirier fight. So if you want to check out the fight at the bar, you can. Also brought to you by my coffee company, Benchwarmer Brew. We dropped a new roast, the Dark Roast, partnered with Urinating Tree, one of the greatest sports YouTubers of all time, to make a dark bitter roast. So you can always check that out, benchwarmerbrew.com. Okay, that's the intro to this show. We are live. Thank you guys for joining us. Like I said, I will take your questions, but we'll get to that after we get into this Drew Lock thing, because it's crazy. You got to see the visual. It's in the thumbnail, but I'll put that on right now. Ooh, yeah. Look at that. Okay, so Drew Lock was driving through Kansas, which I have done several times in my life because I lived in Wichita, Kansas for 6 glorious years, and a lug nut pierced his windshield. And as you can see on the screen here, it embedded itself into Drew's windshield. Now, I have hit bugs on that road. I have had rocks crack my windshield, but I have never seen a lug nut fly into somebody's windshield like this. You can see Drew posing with the state troopers. Thankfully, Drew Lock is okay. But had that windshield not stopped that lug nut, had that lug nut hit him, he could have fucking died driving through Kansas. That is not how I want to see Drew Lock go out for the love of God. I am glad this windshield protected Drew. The windshield caught the lug nut, so far the windshield has fewer drops than Jerry Jeudy. But yeah, Drew Lock is okay. That's what's important here. And yes, Cameron Burris in the comment says, I feel like this is going to be a meme for the first few weeks of the football season. That could be very true. Drew Lock has a lot to prove this year as a Broncos quarterback, unless, of course, that ends up being Aaron Rodgers, which those rumors aren't dead yet. If you were tired of the Drew Lock to Denver rumors, you're in the wrong place, because they're still alive. Drew Lock still he's competing with Teddy Bridgewater for the starting job. We all know that. We've talked about it millions of times. Okay, not millions of times, but a lot of times on this YouTube channel. But Aaron Rodgers, during the match this weekend, I made a video about it on the main channel. He did not do anything to dispel the rumors that he's unhappy with Green Bay. He didn't make it sound like he was going to return to Green Bay. So that drama is going to continue for a while. With the other thing, Another thing that was annoying. Okay, so I watched the match. It was actually interesting watching Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady golf. I thought it would be boring, but I locked in. And I think what's interesting is just kind of hearing quarterbacks talk a little openly, talk a little trash to each other. They get asked questions by Charles Barkley and the TNT crew. And I just kind of like that interaction. We loved it with Peyton Manning, and I thought I was only going to like last year's the match because Peyton Manning was there, but I found this one not quite as interesting, but interesting nonetheless. Anyway, Aaron Rodgers beat Tom Brady. Him and Bryson DeChambeau, they kicked the piss out of him. And yes, Aaron Rodgers told Charles Barkley he would tell him in Tahoe what his plans are for the season, but I think he was joking. I think Aaron Rodgers was joking. I don't think he's really going to tell Charles Barkley what his plans are for the season because there's a big chunk of it that's out of Aaron Rodgers' control. He has to get the Packers to agree to trade him. So the only thing Aaron Rodgers can tell Charles Barkley that would be definitive is that he's going to return. Because I don't think Green Bay's promised that they'll trade him, that they're just waiting for some arbitrary time. They would have already done that if they were already thinking about doing it. Anyway, where's this? Where's this? This Pro Football Focus. Totally uncalled for Pro Football Focus. Jerry Jeudy, I'm open. Then they got Drew Lock with a picture of Tom Brady, who must have just sliced the ball into the woods at the golf tournament. Why? Why, Pro Football Focus, would you bend over backwards to shit on Bronco Country's quarterback? First of all, that's my job. I'm the only one who can talk trash about Drew Lock and not feel the repercussions. I just don't understand why an analytics website who's already pointed out how many countless times that Drew Lock did not have a good season would go out of their way to take this shot at him. Drew Lock just cheated death, Pro Football Focus. So when he comes onto the football field, he's got a new lease on life. And as long as Aaron Rodgers is not the Broncos quarterback, we are going to believe Drew Lock can take us to the promised land. Wow, it's hard talking without Will Keys here. I really lean on him. I haven't done this for a while. But if I plan on live streaming during some of the football games this season, I better get used to this shit. And I gotta run this whole chat here. Okay, yeah. So Tom Brady did not play well in the match. We know that he lost. Aaron Rodgers beat him because it's just Aaron Rodgers and one teammate that played well. Aaron Rodgers gets a performance from his teammates, and suddenly he's kicking Tom Brady's ass. All right, the lug nut. Already talked about the lug nut going through Drew Lock's windshield. He cheated death on a Kansas highway. I got my first ever speeding ticket on a Kansas highway. So at least the Kansas Highway Patrol treated Drew Lock more kindly than they treated me at age 17. I was a little concerned. I had blue, shaggy hair at the time. The officer was really mean to me, and I thought he might take me to jail. That's how scared I was. So I don't have fond memories of that long-ass drive from Wichita to Pueblo and or Denver. God, that drive sucked. And that was before I had Audible or, podcasts or audiobooks. Nothing but straight up burned CDs, mixed CDs to listen to get you through the drive. Shit was long. I guess I could have purchased books on CDs, but I wasn't into that shit at the time. So you just basically count the hours in between, or the minutes in between smelling feedlots, which if you haven't smelled a feedlot in your life in a car, you haven't lived, my friend. Just 20 straight minutes of horse, cow, manure shit permeating its way through your ventilation system in your car. Hot boxing. Have you ever hot boxed cow manure? That shit will get you high. Oh yeah, I wanted to show. So Drew Lock took a lug nut to the windshield earlier this year. My wife picked this up in her car tire. You might remember that story for any of you avid listeners of the podcast. So I'm going to take it as a good omen that my wife picked up a weird piece of shrapnel from the road, as does Drew Lock. Could mean Pro Bowl season for Drew Lock, and I'll be backtracking all of the times I begged for Gardner Minshew, Aaron Rodgers, and Deshaun Watson to be the Broncos quarterback, because that's really the best case scenario for the Broncos, Drew Lock being awesome, right? They already got him. Won't cost them any future draft picks. The price tag's cheap right now, but we got a lot to learn about Drew. It's all connected. You're right, Ninja Cow. It is all connected. Before we get to the Q&A, I do have to mention, again, today's episode brought to you by DraftKings. We've got the McGregor Poirier, the most difficult name for an idiot like me to pronounce, but the fight for UFC 264 is this weekend, in DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC, has a knockout offer for this weekend. All right, DraftKings is offering 264-1 odds on a knockout in the first round during Saturday's main event. If the rubber match ends in a first-round knockout, you walk away with cash. Just pick the main event fighter you think will win by first-round knockout, and DraftKings Sportsbook will give you 264-1 odds on that fighter. That's right. Bet $1 on McGregor or Poirier to win by first-round knockout, and you win $264. There's no better way to put your MMA knowledge to the test than to put your money where your mouth is with DraftKings Sportsbook. And if DraftKings is not for you, or if MMA is not for you, DraftKings is definitely for you. DraftKings is for you. They've got other great odds and promotions on basketball, hockey, so much. Well, probably not hockey. Tampa Bay sealed that up. All-Star Weekend coming up pretty soon here in Denver next week, I think. Now, DraftKings, safe, secure, reliable, so you can deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code DNVR when you sign up to turn $1 into $264 when you bet on a main event fighter to win by first-round knockout. Place your bet and watch the fisticuffs fly this weekend. That's code DNVR to turn $1 into $264 only at DraftKings Sportsbook. You got to be 21 or older. Colorado only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. Yes, Clickbait Sports will be live later today on my main That's Good Sports channel. I don't think Tree will be there this week, but you can find it on 5 Points channel, Tom Grossi's channel, Scooter Magruder's Twitch. We go live every Thursday. And yeah, hopefully the show continues to grow and get better. We're working on some cool stuff, and it's fun. I really enjoy doing that show and shooting the shit with all of those guys. All right, questions. I'm going to pop in and get some of your questions. I'm going to scroll back through the comments here and see if I missed any. Oh, this is just funny. 5,000 lug nuts in the wind. An ode to Paul Andrew Luck. We're all just lug nuts in the wind. That's right. All we are is lug nuts in the wind. We got Brian Clark coming in all the way from Dallas, Texas. Go Broncos. Cowboys suck. Brian, my question for you is, have you ever said that aloud publicly in Dallas? Feel like that's a risky thing to say down there? Or are Cowboys fans sort of used to everybody hating them and they just let it roll off their shoulders? I don't know. I haven't spent a lot of time in Texas. Okay, Broncos Twitter for the win. Reply. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so the Pro Football Focus tweet about Drew Lock, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Drew Lock's an amazing quarterback who doesn't deserve criticism about his play. Like I said, it's just a cheap shot by Pro Football Focus. I get you. You got to be on social media. You're trying to be funny. If anybody's tried too hard to be funny on social media, I can attest for that. I take a lot of swings on Twitter, a lot of misses. You know, it's a miss when you have to explain the joke to more than one person. But like Pro Football Focus is an analytics company, right? They're supposed to be taken seriously for their serious, more in-depth analysis. And I think it's cool for guys who are shit posters like us. What we do is we make jokes, talk shit about like sports fans. But for a company like that to do it, to single out a guy for no fucking reason was just messed up. They get stupid for their brand to do that stuff. Sure, that tweet's going to get a lot of engagement, but they also piss off a bunch of Broncos fans. Now, is the trade-off that they make Chiefs fans, Chargers fans, and Raiders fans happy by shitting on the Broncos? I don't know. I don't know the economics of it there, but I agree with you. Goofy, I do like to see that cartoon characters follow this show. Is Goofy Disney? Is that Disney? Mickey Mouse? Yeah, that's Disney. Disney watches my show. That's what we can confirm there. All right. Yes, I'm getting to questions here. I'm just trying to find ones to answer. Let's see. Yes, thank God Drew Lock's okay. Oh, here's a question. What kind of car was struck by a lug nut? Does anybody know what kind of car Drew Lock drives? Great answer by Ninja Cow. A locked car. Whew. Swish. Do we like wordplay here? We do. Thank you, Ninja Cow. This is not a question by Direct Echo. He just says, fuck you, Tom Brady. Always going to appreciate that. I did do a podcast about why people hate Tom Brady. And right before the podcast began to record, I learned that it was Tom Brady's company that was putting it on. And so now I got to sign some release forms so they can use whatever I say. And I can't even remember what I said at this point. So it could be interesting. I don't know if they'll use anything of what I said. But I did do a podcast about hating Tom Brady for a Tom Brady produced show. All right, that's Good Broncos. Do you think if Aaron Rodgers comes to Denver, we will have a reputation for a place where Hall of Fame quarterbacks come towards the end of their careers? If so, will Tom Brady join us around the year 2048? Yes. I mean, John Elway famously ended his Hall of Fame career in Denver, but he started it there. Then we had Jake Plummer come to Denver, not necessarily a Hall of Fame career, but a good QB who got a second chance in Denver. Then Peyton Manning, the guy, has made it famous. Get old, come to Denver, win that final Super Bowl, because this is an organization that's going to put a team around you to win and succeed. Drew Brees, we thought maybe Drew would leave New Orleans. People wanted Drew Brees to come to Denver. Phillip Rivers, they toyed with that idea. But yes, if Aaron Rodgers does, and I believe if he came to Denver, I believe the Broncos would definitely be in the AFC Championship game unless something weird happened in the playoffs. And I think there's a better chance of him winning the Super Bowl here in Denver than he has with the Packers, especially this season, because I am also high on the Broncos defense like everybody else, because it's July. This is the time to be high on your team because they look freaking perfect on paper. So, yeah, I would like all old quarterbacks to come to Denver to win a final Super Bowl, except for Tom Brady. And if he's still playing in 2048, which there's a good chance of that. Fuck it. If Brady's over 50, he can play for the Broncos. We do have a special guest coming in. I got a little desperate. Not that this guy is who I would call my desperate guest, but I was scared to do it alone. So I sent a DM to our friend from DNVR, Zach.
What is up, Perna? Don't worry. I'm okay being the like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. text.
No, you're the only person I reached out to, Zach.
Oh,
So,
wow. Well, at least I'm the only 2 a.m. text. I'm good with that.
exactly. I've got one booty call, and it is you. Thanks for joining me, man.
Absolutely. Pumped to be on. Sorry that you're having internet problems on the other end, but look at this connection.
Yeah, nice and strong. You're crystal clear. The real reason I shot you the link is because every day on Twitter, you've got a nice recap of what we learned about the Broncos. And I feel like you're somebody who is always the most abreast of Broncos information. You pay attention. And I thought, like, if I missed anything today, Zach's going to be able to tell me what's going on. And I don't think anything is happening today, but the slight chance that it is, Zach, do you have anything for me?
Noah Fant and Dalton Reisner are running the rocks at Red Rocks. That's some pretty big news today. But
There we go.
I love this. I've been on for like 60 seconds, and we've already had booty and breast named. That's a good
Boom.
start.
Booty, a breast. We'll figure out some more body parts to get in there.
I'm sure.
I saw Noah Fant running up those steps. Anybody doesn't know, Red Rocks is an outdoor amphitheater here in Colorado. It's the greatest venue on earth for concerts. But if you go during the day, there's just a ton of fit people working out there, flexing their perfect bodies, doing yoga. And so Fant, Broncos tight end, who many people are projecting to have a big year working out. What was Reisner doing there? Running steps too? Or was he just moving red rocks? I imagine Reisner just fucking picking them up and throwing giant red rocks around.
Yeah, I think you're right. He was actually at the top throwing rocks down when Noah Fant was running up, and it was like one of those games that you got to avoid. And of course, Noah Fant had his shirt off. Not quite sure if Dalton had his shirt on.
Man, if I was I think you gotta embrace the belly, right? You're an offensive lineman. People want to see that stuff. And I think if Quinn Miners turns out to be good, he's going to make a lot of money selling Quinn Miners merch because people are eating that up.
He already is killing it with that. And yeah, like you said, he's like a second, third string lineman right now. Dalton and every other lineman should take after him before and get all the credibility before he's able to do it. Or Brandon, why do you have your shirt on right now? I mean,
my bench warmer brew?
You take advantage of that? Oh, well, that's a pretty good one.
Yep. That's just my coffee company, you know. I'm a titan of industry or in industry.
I wasn't sure yesterday if it was fly by the seat of your pants or fly by the seed of your pants. So I'm certainly not the guy to ask.
Yeah, I think there's you could probably do a whole YouTube channel on sayings that you don't understand.
I'm surprised that's not a song yet.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Country song.
Country songs really. Last week on our clickbait sports, I had to do a song, and I thought I could just whip out a quick country song about Aaron Rodgers. Turns out that shit's a little harder than I thought.
Yes. You're not Eminem yet?
No, I'm not Eminem of the country world.
Boy, Eminem of the country world, that's a combo.
That would, I mean, that's just Kid Rock, right?
Right, there you go. Throw some rock in there too.
We got a quick question here from Is Cray, $5 super chat. Having my bachelor party in Denver and going to the Week 6 game versus the Raiders. Any places I should visit while I'm there? Bars, restaurants, etc. Well, that's a great question, Is Cray, because I would say one place you should visit is the DNVR bar.
Hey, there we go. Perfect question for this time when I'm hopping on. Absolutely. Check out the DNVR bar. You're not going to be going there for the game, but yeah, check it out. It's an awesome place to catch any other games that are going on around Week 6. And if it wasn't a bachelor party, I may say go to Red Rocks, but Brandon, I don't think there's going to be any early rising running stairs for a bachelor party.
No, I guess week 6. That's early October.
Yeah.
Maybe there'd be like a concert you could catch at Red Rocks. I don't know how long they go, because you can get nice and drunk at a concert. Red Rocks fits the bachelor party mode.
Yeah.
So that might be an option. I think Zach and I are probably the wrong people to ask this question to. I believe we don't go out a lot. Or am I wrong? You've been hit. Have you been hit? Oh, wait. Congratulate. Zach got engaged.
Yes.
You put it on Twitter. That's public knowledge, right?
Yes. Got engaged this weekend. So man, that was my weekend. But we were up in the mountains, so didn't celebrate any bars or restaurants down here. But yeah, it was 11 years in the making. So it was about time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congrats, man. That's awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
What kind? You gonna do a big wedding? Small wedding? You got plans for it yet?
What's like 125? Is that normal?
Yeah, I think that's normal size wedding.
Yeah. What was yours?
We kept ours to under 100.
Oh, that's impressive.
And to do it, I only had to alienate my entire dad side of the family.
Right, there you go. And man, that's kind of the dream for everyone, right? Under 100, you just get the people that you want there.
Yeah, and even that was like, it was still big. It's still crazy. It's a lot of stress. But afterwards, it's nice. You've been with somebody 11 years. You want to marry them, so that's good.
Right. Yep. So probably like 2 years away, probably somewhere in the mountains again.
Nice. Yeah, the mountains is a solid place. We had ours booked to do in the mountains. We had like a big cabin reserved. And then the people sold the cabin.
No way.
Yeah. No. So we had to figure out a backup plan late in the process quickly. It was kind of it sucked, but.
So this wasn't, you weren't like gypped, like it was actually legit and they just happened to sell it?
Yeah, it was like they rented like the cabin out, like an Airbnb type situation, and they were cool, like us doing an event there, and then they just happened to decide to sell it during that process, and we're like, oh yeah, we can't rent it out to you anymore.
Wow.
So we had to switch up gears. The unique thing we did for dessert was donuts. If you want to save money, donuts is a super cheap way to go.
Oh yes, and probably something that people enjoy more.
Yeah, I mean, I think donuts are better than cake. I did a Twitter poll about like which dessert would you lose, like between like one had to go between brownies, donuts, ice cream, and cookies. And the donut argument was people were like, that's not a dessert. It's breakfast, you idiot.
Oh, okay.
Like,
well, if we can classify it as that, then I'm all about donuts.
Yeah, it's not breakfast,
it's an acceptable breakfast.
Yeah. Because personally, I think donuts top. Like, that's my favorite.
Ice cream would have to be number one there.
You a big ice cream guy?
Oh, big ice cream guy. I mean, You can't really tell, but big bowl to end every day.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, so I'm the guy to ask about ice cream, I guess, not the bar scene.
Yeah. Well, the thing about like posting shit like that, the responses are always what's like funny. Right. But I got a nice takeaway from it, and it's a good point, was brownies are the least diverse and they're the easiest to fuck up. So that's why people had a big problem with brownies being, I was like, that's true. Like if you don't cook brownies just right, they can taste like hard little bricks of garbage. And like you can get creative, some different flavors in there, but cookies you can do anything with. Ice cream, obviously. I mean, all of those things you can put on ice cream, which kind of makes ice cream the dominant dessert. But anyway, we've got another question here, football related. Dakota Whitehouse, what is your obsession with Aaron Rodgers, Brandon? If Drew leaves, like the majority of Broncos fans want him to, are you okay with more years of futility after Rodgers comes through? Well, that's a good question. That's a fair question, because a lot of people ask me, they get into that. I'm going to let you go first, Zach, and give me your take on Aaron Rodgers and Drew Lock.
Well, to answer the second part of the question, am I okay and should people be okay with kind of the Peyton Manning era followed by this last 5 years that we've had to suffer through? Obviously, you don't want the last 5 years of, not making the playoffs for 5 straight years, but you'll take that in a heartbeat if you get the 5 years or the 4 years before that. Now, you hope that the 5 years that follow the Aaron Rodgers aren't as bad as this and that George Payton's able to set up the team better. But don't you have to take the Super Bowls and the consecutive AFC Championship game appearances and the AFC West titles? There's no guarantee that it's going to be good after Aaron would leave here, but you got to do what you can do to win right now. So without a doubt, you go with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I think anybody asking that question maybe doesn't fully appreciate how good Aaron Rodgers is. Like this last season, I was just blown away by how he performed on the field. And it's both like just his natural gifts as a quarterback coupled with all of his experience in the league, right? So like Tom Brady, there's not a defense you're going to throw his way that he doesn't understand, doesn't know what to do with the ball. That's Aaron Rodgers too. Like you're not going to fool them. They can control everything from the line of scrimmage. And that just takes time to do in the NFL. Even like Patrick Mahomes still has a lot in terms of growing as a quarterback, which is really fucking scary as a Broncos fan. But like he's got a lot of room to improve. Aaron Rodgers is at the peak of his game. Like he's not going to get any better than he is. And he looks healthy and the athletic skill is there. So the mental part is as sharp as it's going to be. His athletic skills going to go down from this point. But as we've seen with Brady, there's time. Like Rodgers got 5 good years left in him. I believe in that. So I think I'll take 5 years with Rodgers. Let's just say that's what I would take. 3 years with Rodgers and trade Drew Lock's potential. And I say that even like assume Drew Lock's good. Okay. So assume he goes somewhere else and he gives another organization 10 good years. I don't need 10 good years with a guy like Phillip Rivers if I can bank on glory, true glory with Aaron Rodgers. And a Super Bowl is not guaranteed. Like I think Rodgers and the Packers showed you how hard that is to get to last season. So I think like Rodgers just in a different class of how special he is as a quarterback and what he can do for your team right now from the mental part of the game. And Drew Lock, you're still guessing. And I think most people like the NFL, there's nothing guaranteed in the idea that you can easily find that quarterback who's going to be your guy for the next 10 years. It's hard. So I think guaranteed greatness right now with Aaron Rodgers is far more valuable than trying to find your franchise QB, because I don't think it's that easy to find. And
it's not. It's not. And so, Brandon, here's a way to look at it. If it's kind of be crazy to say that Drew Lock is going to be, a first-team All-Pro back-to-back years. So let's say that he can live up to a 3-time Pro Bowler in the next 10 or 15 years. That's what Kirk Cousins is right now. He's a 2-time Pro Bowler. If he plays a couple more years, you think he probably gets one more Pro Bowl thrown in there. So would you rather have Kirk Cousins, the Kirk Cousins type of career for 10 or 15 years out of Drew Lock, or Aaron Rodgers for, I agree with you, a minimum of 3 years? To me, it's easy. You go the Aaron Rodgers route. Look what Kirk Cousins has done. He has made teams competitive, but that's not what the Broncos are used to. Maybe that's great for the Washington football team or the Minnesota Vikings. That's not what the Broncos are about. And there's also a chance that after Aaron Rodgers retires, that the Broncos don't mess up the next 5 years. That doesn't have to follow. They can get a good quarterback somehow and be good. It doesn't have to be that way. Heck, just look at Green Bay. Look what they did. They went from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers just like that. The Colts went from Peyton Manning to Andrew Luck. Now, Andrew didn't turn out exactly as they hoped, but he was a good quarterback when he played. So for me, it's worth passing up on Drew. And also, you're not talking about like a Justin Herbert type of young quarterback. You're talking about a guy that struggled a lot last year. He was one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. Now, I think Drew can take a step up, but it's not like you're passing on a great talent so far.
No, I think Drew will be better this year. Like if he starts the whole season for the Broncos, I truly believe he will be better. I just don't know how much better, and I just don't know what the long-term, outlook is for Lock. And what the short-term outlook is if you get Aaron Rodgers. We're thinking about a Super Bowl every year. And you're right. Like Justin Herbert's
this year.
Yeah. Justin Herbert's a great example of how tricky it is to find a quarterback because he was the third quarterback to go in the draft. Like Tua went before Justin Herbert, right? So the Dolphins probably didn't evaluate that situation correctly. Joe Burrow might still be the best quarterback of those top three, but he went to Cincinnati where they don't block for their quarterback and his knee got shredded. And I don't know if their offensive line is going to be much better this year. So like maybe Joe Burrow's the best QB, but he might not have the best career because he didn't go to the right place. So a lot of X factors there. Try to whenever you got to peace out, Zach, feel free. I don't want to keep you longer than you need to be, but you can stay as long as you want to.
You know what? I mean, it's July 8th. It's the off season right now.
It is
the real off season.
There is an off season for talking Broncos. Okay, that's good Broncos. I'm so hyped for Kyle Fuller this season. Me too. But why does it seem like everyone other than Denver fans are overlooking him? He's easily the best cornerback in the AFC West. I think people are overlooking the Broncos because they just haven't put together a winning season for so long. And I think last year, only Broncos fans saw the potential in the defense, but it was riddled by injuries. So you can look at last year's record and you can look at last year's defensive stats and you can say, oh yeah, that defense wasn't very good. Just because they added a couple corners doesn't mean they'll be better this season. So I think that's why they're getting overlooked. But yeah, I think that's probably my favorite offseason acquisition.
When I look at the Broncos secondary group, and obviously it's crazy, you have 4 cornerbacks that can start for pretty much every team in the league, and not all 4 are going to start. But when I put together who's going to start, I overlook Kyle Fuller because I just put him as CB1 and then I make my decisions after that. So I just don't think he's talked about much because it should be at least just that first cornerback. He should never be taken off the field. There should be no competition with him. That's how it should be. Now, people could point and say, well, he's regressed the past 2 years, but then he's back with Vic Fangio. So I think he should be closer to that 2018 form than he was 2019, 2020, especially he's on a contract year. I mean, it worked out perfectly for the Broncos. They're paying him half of what the Bears were paying him. They're only paying him $10 million. He's back with Vic. I expect a big year for him. And on our pod today, which actually hasn't dropped, we talked about, we made an all AFC West team. And on the defensive side of the ball, we had 13 positions because we couldn't really eliminate one cornerback position. But there were 7 Broncos on the defensive side of the ball that made our team, which is, just like you said, the defense was killed by injuries last year. That's why it really didn't look as good as it should be. But, man, this team should be really good on defense.
Yeah, they stay healthy. The potential is top 5 for that defense. And for the Bears, their defense regressed as a whole the last 2 years. And it's one, Fangio left. They had some players that left, but also like their offense was bad. So that defense was always in bad situations, which as a Broncos fan, you should be able to relate to. Wait, is that the question? But a lot of fans I've seen on Twitter want Drew Lock gone. Okay, yeah, I guess. Okay, so Dakota's saying that he's seen a lot of Broncos fans who want Drew Lock gone. Yeah, if you're on the internet, you're going to see that from people. I think, like, I have to reiterate that me wanting maybe some other quarterback options doesn't mean I hate Drew Lock. It just is like, I think there's some guys I know that are better. I like Drew Lock. I still want him to succeed. But thanks for bringing that up, Dakota. What was it? Oh, yeah, the Melvin Gordon. Somebody had a Melvin Gordon question. Where'd you go? There it is.
When you find that, when it comes to Drew, there's no question, Brand, that the best thing for the Broncos is for Drew Lock to become the guy, because then they don't have to use another first-round draft pick. They don't have to trade 3 firsts and Bradley Chubb for Aaron Rodgers. There's no question that's the best thing. There's just a lot of questions with it.
Exactly. Here's another question from GQ Jones. Melvin Gordon is the most key player we need to get going. I don't know if he's the most key, but I think if him and Javonte Williams are both good, that is something that can help out Drew Lock tremendously. What's a quarterback's best friend? A good offensive line and a reliable run game. Drew Lock sort of had that, the run game part of that, his rookie season when he came in. Last year, the running game was just kind of weird. I don't know a better way to describe it. I think it's a mix of trying to work with the new offensive coordinator, a new OC who likes to throw more than run, really, or was maybe a little predictable with running. Philip Lindsay, as good as he is, I don't think really fit that scheme of offense. So I think Gordon and Williams, nice 1-2 punch, to be as cliche as I can. It would be awesome. And I like Melvin Gordon's haircut. I just needed to say that. I have seen it. He has talked about it. And then I kind of took a minute to look at it. And I was like, dang, that's a cool haircut. It looks good. He looks younger, which makes me think he's going to be faster. And I think the competition is good for Gordon. I think he kind of thrives on that a little bit. I feel like he played better football when Austin Eckler got to the Chargers. So who do you think is the most keyest player for the Broncos to step up maybe?
On offense?
Yeah, go offense.
I think, man, if you can get Jerry Jeudy to just continue to take a huge step up, that's going to be a nightmare, because you do have to assume a little bit that Courtland Sutton's going to be healthy and be back to who he was. But if you have 2 guys there, man, on the outside, that's going to be killer. And I agree that the running back position is going to be so key. But like you said, it's not all on Melvin Gordon, because Javonte Williams can easily take off, and he's probably going to take off at the second half of this season.
Yeah, I think the other guy is Mr. Red Rocks himself, Noah Fant.
Yeah.
If he's been good, but if he turns into the weapon I think he can be, you pair that with Jerry Jeudy, Drew Lock can look great. Now, Ian B's got a great question here. $5 super chat. Thank you, Ian. So you're talking long-term quotations, but wouldn't shut up about Fields, who is the biggest project in this year's draft. Makes sense. Love you, Perna. That's the only way you can criticize my takes, is if you end it with love you, Perna.
Love you and they pay you.
Yeah, exactly. Interesting. Okay, I hear what you're saying, Ian. I don't think Fields was the biggest project in this year's draft. I think
gotta go Trey Lance, right?
Yeah, I mean, definitely Trey Lance. I think Fields is good. I think the reason I wanted them to take Justin Fields is because I think his potential is better than Drew Lock. That's what it came down for me. Doesn't mean I'm right. And if you take Justin Fields and Drew Lock wins the quarterback competition and plays great, then you have a valuable asset behind him. I just don't. I think you had more to lose by not taking him, unless of course your plan is for Aaron Rodgers. But I don't know. We'll find out. We might find out. Justin Fields has to play well in Chicago for me to look correct, but playing well on a Chicago offense right now looks a lot harder than it would have been here in Denver.
Yeah, you're certainly right about that. And something else with Justin Fields is if you only had to use one first-round pick to get your quarterback, that is a lot less than other times. I mean, look what the Bears just did to get Justin Fields. They used 2 first-round picks because they traded up in order to get him. That's why when he was sitting there and all you had to do was waste 1 first-round pick on him, and then it's not a waste if he hits, man. And Patrick Surtain, I really think he's going to be really, really good on this defense. In fact, he was in our all AFC West cornerback team, which is just crazy for a guy that hasn't played a down yet. But that's how good I think he's going to be. But if you don't have a quarterback, you really don't have anything. I mean, we found that out, haven't we? The Broncos have gone all in on defense these past couple of years, and the quarterback's not there. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and it's just hedging your bets, right? If you got more chips on the table, chances are you might hit with one of them. Maybe you hit with Drew Lock. I don't think you are. And I'm not saying, Drew Lock's going to be as bad as he was last year. But I would have taken the bet with Justin Fields. I would have liked to have that extra piece. And I wouldn't have made the deal for Teddy Bridgewater before the draft either. I just didn't think that was as big of a need heading into it. I think maybe you have less options after the draft. Maybe Teddy Bridgewater's gone. But if you had Fields and Locke, I like that situation more than going into the season with Bridgewater and Locke for the Broncos' future.
If that trade for Teddy made it so they didn't draft Justin Fields, then that was just a terrible, terrible trade. Because on the surface, getting Teddy Bridgewater for a 6th-round pick and only paying him $4 million, you upgrade your room. You upgrade your room as a backup, without a doubt. And maybe Teddy is going to be better than Drew, so you upgrade your room. But, going from the 30th best quarterback room to the 25th, the 22nd, that's not what you need.
Yeah, and I like Teddy Bridgewater. If the Broncos had grabbed Teddy a season before when he was coming off the great year he had with the Saints filling in, I would have been thrilled about it. But the NFL, things happen fast, and your opinions on those important positions change every year. So, yes, I can sound like a hypocrite at times. I have rooted for Teddy. I wanted him to succeed in Carolina. And I think Will and I talked about it on the podcast. The thing that might not be fair to Teddy is he brought up that he played worse after he had his knee injury and that he wasn't 100%. And that's true. Teddy, though, he's what we have craved at times in terms of a safe quarterback who's not going to make a lot of mistakes. But we had that sort of with Case Keenum, and we were like, we just need a guy who's going to take the chances. We just go back and forth because we haven't got the complete package yet. And when you're picking apart those things, it just means you're desperate, and we just want to win. If the Broncos win this season, I don't care who's doing it. I don't care. I don't care. I'll come down to the DNVR bar and watch the game. I'll watch some games live stream it, have fun. I don't know. I just don't want to be thinking about how I'm going to soften the blow of another loss on YouTube after a game.
For real. I've covered a winning team once because my first day covering the Broncos was Peyton Manning's retirement. So maybe it's my fault, but at least I got to see one winning season. Went 9-7, and we know how it's gone from there.
We need to trade Zach to the Chiefs.
Yep, and then maybe Mahomes will retire right away.
Mahomes retires. Deal done. Let's see here. I think we got through most of the questions here. Xavier Edmonds, are you giving us your second song today on Clickbait Sports? I don't know. I haven't worked on it anymore, so probably not. Maybe. I'll take a listen to it this afternoon. It was pretty bad, like the other version. So we'll see.
I think we need that, though.
You have said nothing else but this question. What? You have said nothing else but this question this entire time.
I think he's got.
Maybe you're responding to somebody else. NFL epic rap battle of history. Oh, interesting question. You familiar with the epic rap battles, Zach?
I am not. Inform me.
Oh, YouTube sensation of the early 2010s. Basically, they pitch historic figures and then they'd have a rap battle together. So Ninja Cow wants to know 2 epic NFL players to have a rap battle. So you would say somebody like, I don't know, Lawrence Taylor versus Aaron Donald, right? 2 guys, similar things people think are great. Epic rap battle. I would just go John Elway versus John Elway's knee without an ACL, which he played for his entire career without. Zach, anything you want to say before we get out of here?
I'm gonna answer that question. I'm gonna go Shannon Sharp and Travis Kelce going up against each other.
Ooh, I
I
like
think that
that.
could be a good one.
I mean, I think Shannon Sharp wins because was Derek Thomas. He got to commit like 100 penalties against him one game for trash talking.
Yeah.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us on the live stream. Make sure you follow Zach on Twitter. What's your handle? At Zach Stevens?
DNVR, exactly.
What did say? Just give the full handle.
At Zach Stevens DNVR.
Perfect. Follow Zach there. Thank you so much for joining me, Zach. We got Elway versus Jim Kelly for the epic rap battle. Brady versus Montana. Those are some good ones. Talib versus Crabtree.
Oh, man, that
yes.
might do it.
Yes. Thank you, guys. We are getting out of here.